Hey guys, the last Wordslinger here, and I'm here to talk to you about I Am Number 4. I Am Number 4. Before I get talking about I Am Number 4, let me diverge for a second and talk to you about movies based on a book series. To be successful, there are two kinds of movies based on a book series. There's The Lord of the Rings, which, well actually, Lord of the Rings encompasses both of these, but we'll use Lord of the Rings just for one. There's Lord of the Rings, which they're the most recent Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings trilogy, by the way. The Lord of the Rings trilogy of movies that was such an amazing cinematic achievement that it not only brought in the fans of the book series, but also people that had never heard of Lord of the Rings, and thus became widely popular, and went on to win the Academy Award for The Return of the King. And then there are the movies that are based on book series that have such a ravenous fan base that it doesn't matter how horrible the movies are, they'll still do well because they have such rabid fans that'll go see the movie 2-3 times each. An example of this would be Twilight. Screw you, Twilight fans, if you're watching this. So, this being said, where does I Am Number 1 fall? I Am Number 4 fall into this universe of movies based on a book series? Well, it falls in neither of those two categories. And I'll tell you why. Because I didn't even know I Am Number 4 was a book until about a quarter of the way through the movie, because I'm watching this movie and I realized to myself, this seems like it would be a young adult book. And sure enough, by the end of the credits, based on book by blah blah blah. I guessed it pretty much most of the way through. No, I Am Number 4 falls into the category of movies based on a book series that usually don't do well. And you know they don't do well because they always set themselves up for a sequel, and one is never made because the box office returns on the original movie aren't good enough to warrant a sequel being made. End of story. Other examples of this are the Percy Jackson movie that came out a few years ago. It was an alright movie, not fantastic, not very true to the book. From what I hear, I haven't actually read the book myself. Not very true to the book, didn't do so well. There are other books in the Percy Jackson series, none were made into movies, because it didn't do so well in the box office. Another example would be The Vampire's Assistant. The Vampire's Assistant, unlike Percy Jackson, pretty much like screamed in your face, hey, there's more to this story than just what you're seeing here. And that's the downfall of it. You see, because the Vampire's Assistant movie in the books, I'm sure I haven't read those either, basically set up this big epic storyline that never gets resolved as far as the movies are concerned because it didn't do well in the box offices. I had never even heard of Percy Jackson or The Vampire's Assistant or I Am Number 4, which are all pretty much young adult novel series, until these movies came out. And I Am Number 4 falls in this category that it's setting itself up for a sequel. I Am Number 4 clearly sets itself up for a sequel because you really, I'll get to it when I get to the recap, but it sets itself up for a sequel, but I'm fairly certain one won't be made because it's only a mediocre film. And it won't do well enough in the box office to warrant a sequel being made. Just like all those other movies. So, now that we've pretty much classified the various types of movies that are based on book series, let's get into I Am Number 4. I went into I Am Number 4 with no expectations at all. I was really expecting something. I went in with no expectations, but I was thinking to myself, maybe this is going to be a kind of a cool, Rebels on the Run, kind of action-y flick. It's probably not going to win. It's probably not going to win any awards, obviously, but it might be fun, I was wrong. The idea I had when I saw the trailers for I Am Number 4, I didn't do any research going into this. I went into this pretty much blind, save for the trailers that I had seen, the very few trailers that I had spotted throughout, maybe on TV or in, before other movies that I had seen. My theory about what the whole movie was about was that there were these kids, these teenagers, that were experiments to create like super beings that were being created by the government, and they escaped, and they were being hunted down, and they were just basically trying to survive, and survive in the world. Maybe there was going to be maybe the government would be the antagonist. Maybe one of the other experiments, maybe like number 7, just to use an arbitrary number, would be the antagonist. Maybe he would be one of the experiments that had gone bad. Who knows? Whatever. That was my thought, and I was like, it's not an original premise, but it hasn't been done very often, and in the few times it has been done, it's probably been done better. But I'm willing to give it a look. So I went into this, thinking it might be something like that. And I was completely wrong. And I was proven wrong pretty much right off the bat. Right off the bat, spoilers if you haven't seen it, pretty much right off the bat, they tell you, hey, these people are aliens from another planet, and they look exactly like humans, but they have cool powers. Ooh. And I thought that was pretty much the most cop-out, cliched thing you could do. It was the dumbest excuse I could have heard that they could have given. Oh yeah, these people with cool powers, they're aliens. They look human, but they're aliens. And they do look human. They don't have some sort of alternate form, or they're not using some sort of cloaking mechanism to look human. No, they look human. And that's what really got me. I was like, these people look human? I mean, I guess they're going for like the Superman kind of thing, but really? So apparently numbers 1 through 9, according to the movie, are the last refugee children from this planet that got destroyed or something, and they were sent to Earth to be protected because they were the only ones that one day could stop the alien race that had destroyed their home planet and was ravaging the galaxy or some nonsense, and eventually they're going to manifest powers and blah 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 blah. And the story centers around number 4. He doesn't have a real name. Apparently number 4 is his real name, which is also incredibly dumb. Either that or his real name hasn't been revealed yet, which I hope is the case, because number 4 for an alien is the dumbest name I've ever heard. What, so they use Earth mathematics too, where they come from? So, the story centers around number 4, who is being hunted down by the evil aliens that destroyed his home planet, because they're apparently hunting down all of these kids, and they already killed numbers 1 through 3. Which irritates me for another reason I'll get to later, but he's basically been on the run his entire life, and him and his dad, who's really his protector from the alien homeworld, set up in a new small town. He goes to high school, falls in love with a girl, aliens show up, he learns how to cope with his new powers. Basically, it's the most cliched, boring bullshit you can imagine. You got like teen drama and aliens and superpowers. Pretty much take most cliches that you can think of from anything teen drama, superpowers, or aliens. You pretty much got it right there. And it was so dull to watch and so predictable. And the worst, you know, basically you have the cliched characters too. You have the torn protagonist who is trying to be normal but can't because he's different from another planet. And then you have his love interest who has no real personality beyond the one that's jammed in there, which is photography, by the way. Photography is used as her one defining characteristic because nothing else about her is even remotely I can't even think of the word. I'm just so frustrated. Interesting. Nothing else about her is even remotely interesting, so they jam in photography as her one defining characteristic. Then you have the best friend character. This little conspiracy nut kid who gets picked on at high school, who gets picked on in school because his dad was apparently this alien hunter and disappeared. And now he, you know, hunts aliens too, trying to find proof, and, you know, and he is befriended by the antagonist, who is, of course, much better looking and powerful, etc., than the kid. And now, I have to admit, even though he's a cliched character, he is still awesome. And the thing that really pisses me off is that apparently, I did my research on this one, apparently he's a lot more awesome in the book than they portrayed him in the movie. And I'll talk about that in a second. So, and then you have bully jock guy that basically makes the protagonist and the best friend character's life a living hell up until, you know, he realizes what the hell's going on. Yeah, that was another problem. His heel face turn at the end of the movie was such bullshit. We'll get to that in a second. And finally, you have the dad protector character, who is the cliched mentor, gotta die so the hero can step up bullshit. Oh, and then you have Deus Ex Machina girl. We'll talk about her in a second too. So, long story short, he goes to high school, falls in love with a girl, discovers his powers, evil aliens show up, he has to fight them to protect his girl and save the day and keep himself from dying, and he does so with the help of his friends, and they journey off to go find the rest of the alien kids so that they can all work together to stop the aliens at the end. That was pretty much it in a nutshell. Oh yeah, there's some, like, horrible, stupid, like, romance shit thrown in there, but it's really inconsequential to the overall plot, so, whatever. And let me tell you some specific things about this movie that bugged the hell out of me. I've touched on a lot of them already. First of all, you know, number 4 is the antagonist. Okay. But but throughout the movie, they show shots of this blonde girl. This blonde girl, they don't tell you who she is or what she's doing. You only see her in certain scenes where she's doing stuff, like she's burning down a house, or she's following on the trails of number 4 and his protector, you know. And by the end of the movie, it's revealed that she's number 6, there to find him. Why? Because her protector was killed, and now she's trying to gather them all to fight off the evil aliens. But honestly, her introduction to the movie seems like such a cop-out, such a deus ex machina. It seems that the writer, I don't know if it was the actual novel writer, if it was the person who wrote the adaptation, but whoever it was, it seemed like they wrote themselves into a corner, and they were like, oh shit, I have no idea how the hero's gonna get himself out of this one. Let's just introduce a new character here. And she'll save the day, and then we'll stick scenes in earlier where she appears to make it look like we were thinking about this the whole time. Really? That's what you're gonna go with? You know, no clever, you know, writing. It's just, oh look, a character shows up and she saves the day because, you know, whatever. Her scenes just seem like they're so shoehorned in there and out of place that it really seems like the writer put it in at the last minute to get himself out of a corner he wrote himself into, and it really irritates me. Another problem about this movie is the heel face turn of the bully character. Basically, up until the very last scene, this bully character, his entire motivation seems to be make the protagonist and the best friend's character life a living hell no matter what. The protagonist is hitting on his ex-girlfriend, make his life a living hell. Get his buddies to go out into the woods and try and beat the shit out of him. You know, call his sheriff daddy on the protagonist to get him arrested because he's weird and stuff, you know. That's pretty much all he does throughout the entire movie. Then the evil aliens get a hold of him, force him to show them where number 4 is, and then by the last scene he's like, I'm sorry about that, man. Here, I'll help you out. You know, take this or here's some stuff to help you. Really? There's no scene where, like, the protagonist saves his life or just anything. You're just going to be like, oh, the evil aliens kidnapped him and now he's good. Oh. It's just sloppy writing. The main character is bland. The best friend character thing. Yeah, the best friend character has a really awesome moment at the end of the movie where he actually picks up an evil alien's gun and kills one that's coming at him and the love interest. You know, in this really awesome... Actually, it wasn't even really awesome. He just did it by accident. You know, like one of the fumbly, I've never used a gun, oh, what a lucky shot kind of moments. And in the movie, in the book, apparently he actually saves the protagonist's life by actually taking a good shot at one of the bad aliens, and he saves number 6's life by carrying her wounded to his truck to get her away to safety. That's badass. And you didn't put any of that in the movie? It wouldn't have been that hard. This film was mediocre at best. The last action scene was kind of cool. But, you know, that's another thing that bugs me. Their powers. The alien powers are so bland. It's like you've seen these powers before in, like, other superhero movies or something, and they've been done better. Or in TV shows, they've been done better in other places. And there's just nothing unique or creative or special about them. It's just, oh, he's got telekinesis and he has a flashlight in his hand. Wah. And number 6 has invisibility and, like, control over the elements. Wow. So you, Mr. Writer, really, you know, digging deep in those creative minds to find that inspiration. Yeah. Okay. All in all, I really wouldn't recommend seeing I Am Number 4. If you're willing to waste your money on something mediocre, go for it. Hey, if you like really crappy young adult book series movies, this one's perfect. Don't expect a sequel to come out though, because that's my prediction. If they do make a sequel, I will you know what? I'll just eat a pair of my underwear on camera for you guys. I'll do it. Alright, see you guys later.